Hi guys, welcome to another video in the Horse Racing Portal tutorial series. This one's a bit more advanced. So what are we going to do today? If you haven't already watched the previous two videos, I suggest you do. Or if you just want to jump in and see what I do here, then okay, but you should really try to understand what these columns here are about and how we use them. So first of all, what have I done today in terms of filtering the races, because we're not going to be betting every single race. Well, the first filter I've applied today is as follows. It's only going to be betting UK. I don't want any maidens, nurseries, and even stakes going on here at all. And I have no distance set, but runners strictly from 6 to 12. And in this filter, I'm only going to be betting zone 2 and 3. I'm tweaking it slightly. However, for zone 1, I have added a filter, which is distance. So I'm only be backing zone 1 when it is a sprint. Now, some people might say, well, 1 mile, 1 furlong, that's not a sprint. It's kind of in between staying and sprint. So for this video, I'm going to include it, and we're going to do all of these races here that you see. And I'm going to talk you through each one. Now we're coming up 3 minutes to Brighton, so I'm going to straight away, I'm going to go to the race card and see what's happening here. So we've got 5 furlong sprint, 9 runners, and I like to come along here and look at the 11 AM prices. We'll know which zones we're going to be betting here once we reach the 1 minute stage. And we can see there's a fair amount of green here. There's a well-supported horse, Nordic Glory's coming a point.
2 minutes to start.
That's the 2 minute warning. And we can see Notre Maison, the favourite, drifted out a little bit and sort of come back into where he was. So I'm always looking down here for an opportunity, something that might crop up, an outsider, you know, in these last few minutes. Suddenly there's been a big book move on it, and if it's one of the bigger book moves or the biggest book move, then it's significant. And also significant is also the 3 minute money. So we'll do a few more races like this, and then they're all going to be different, so I'm going to explain what's going on. So let's see what happens in this one. A minute to go, and I am going to be using Betfair Bot Manager to place my bets today. I'm a bit of a rush on this first race, so in between races I'll take time to explain that, but in the previous video there is already the explanation on how to use the Betfair console to bet with this, and it's likely that you could use an easy Dutching calculator, or if you have software like Betting Toolkit, which is an excellent product you can find on a website that's only $60 a year, and the guys will build you these bots for your strategy or betting patterns for you. You know, they're really good guys. Check them out. Much cheaper than BetAngel, and in my opinion faster and has more on it. Okay, here we are, zone 1. Zone 2 bet it is, because it's a sprint. We have in the favourite section, zone 1, plenty of money, so we're not even considering a bet here. A huge amount of money for Ashimali. Now this is where I might go off piste a bit. He's gone from 16s into 7.8, and this figure here and the book is really exciting me. So here I'm getting, in the first race, I'm going to break the rules and go for this steamer. So I'm just going to pop the bet on up here. I'll come back and explain this after the race. Ashimali. Okay, I better get Sky Bet up and running. So if you see something like that, I mean, that's a significant move. His price has just crashed in. I mean, and this really, these two figures here, 42, 45, it says something about this race. So I'm going to have a bet. I'm not going to do it each way. I'm just going to do it to win, as you've seen. And when I call up the racing now at Brighton, then you should be able to go and watch that. Going behind, that's good. So yeah, this time in the very first race, I've stepped out of the zones because, I mean, a safe bet would be to do that each way, I think. It's a significant move, even though there's been plenty of money for the favourite. 16s, and if I ever see anything, you know, even if in the 40s here, especially backed up by this, the last hour, how much he's been shoved in. You know, we typical, and they're off. Classic from Sky Racing. However, we do have a result, and Al Shimali has won. As you know, I trade out at 1.15 as a P. We didn't see that race, but let's go back and analyse that, because this is quite rare. And this is why I broke the rule for zone 1, because of all the greens. So I had very little time to explain it to you. It's a very significant move. And if you see this 3 minutes as being anything above 40, you need to sit up and take notice of it. And that could be down here too in the outsiders. It could be anywhere. And look at the book move. It's the highest, or it's the best book move of all of them. And this money came in. So at 10 minutes out, it was 16s. And within that space of 10 minutes, the price had crashed it. And its SP, in fact, was stunning price. I'm trying to 8.18. So its price crashed in 50%, sorry, in that 10 minutes. And that's what the portal told you. And we've ended up with a winner. So there's an example in the first race of going outside of the zones, making that exception, saying, you know what, that's a significant move. The steamer, something's paid off there in the market. They might have talked about it on TV, huge move on this or whatever. But when you're looking at the portal, that's painting a very, very strong picture of a steamer. So great example. Let's move on to our next race, and I'm looking on the filters now. So I'm going to come to Jack's calculator in a minute once I've loaded it. And in the tracker we can see that it's down as a winner, and it's calculated at £1.53. So we have a break now, quite a long break of an hour and 20 minutes. So good time if you were doing this, go out, walk the dog, make yourself a sandwich, cup of tea, whatever it is. So this is how we use the filter. We're not sitting here constantly all day looking at the racing, trying to pick a winner, and basically FOMO. It's actually so great that our first race there identified something that we had to bet. The force of money was too strong, and in those circumstances it's permissible. Now, for example, had these numbers been 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, it would have been ignored. And visually on the portal, when you see higher percentage numbers like this, as I said, going back from 16s way into April 4, we got 7.6, was it? So a huge gamble landed, and a really good example of betting outside the zones and when you should and when you shouldn't. So while we got time and before the next race, let me just go back to how I bet here. Now, what I've done today is I have this zonal strategy set up in 3 independent sections. And this is many thanks to Jack Bickley, who designed this and made my life a hell of a lot easier. And I just want to explain the benefits of this in terms of speed, making late decisions, because otherwise, you're fiddling around the Betfair console. So we have groups of horses by all weather, flat and national hunt. What I've done today is I've restarted these bots. Yeah, zeroed them out. So pay no attention to this on the right. I do tweak and I do fiddle. And it's all for the benefit of when we release things to you guys, we want the strategy to be reliable and safe, and and is it failed? Is it not working? Is it just going up and down and stuff? So we do a lot of tweaking. So for the sake of this video, I've started with a £300 bankroll. And as you can see, duly filled in zone 1, which was the bet, even though it wasn't a zone, if you understand that. We backed 7.6. It calculated a stake of £1.56 based on the betting here of £300 bankroll. It's laid us off at 1.15. So this is the big question. Why do you lay off at 1.15? Well, it's hard to say over time whether or not you would make more profit from just doing win only. You probably would. But the amount of times that you get chinned on the line or on the nod and your horse has dropped below that, or especially in the jumps, if he's about to jump the last and then he kind of gets caught, you still get paid out. You still get paid out. You greened up across the board, as you saw earlier with Alishimi. So that is why I do it. So going back to this, it just makes my life easier. I can go to the market once I've looked at the portal. So I'm looking at a race. Firsk has gone off. So we looked at Firsk. If we were doing it, it's a stakes race, so therefore it's a subtype and we don't bet it. You'd see here that there's 2 favourites in zone 1, no bet, and nothing down here. It would be a no bet race. So what about the C1.1? Well, these are portal alerts that Stephen does, and generally they are for sprints up to 12 horses. So it's a manual portal alert. It differs from the Telegram alerts that we have, and we are testing a few of those at the moment. There's C1 and C2. This is C1.1 and bases itself around the favourites. Briefly going back to Bot Manager. Once I decided that in that race we saw that Al Shimali was very heavily fancied and heavily backed, all I did was simply click on its name. The bot will then look at the odds, look at your bankroll, and calculate the appropriate stake to put. So it knows it's in zone 1 because the odds were 7.6. And it knows I've got £300 in the bankroll. Now, you don't have to keep £300 in Betfair. You can keep £100 in there. And don't put it all in there. You can bet for relatively low for good returns using this system. And the other thing to note is that this bankroll will now stand at £308.57 and will compound as much as it would do if it went backwards, if we'd lost. So the staking is always relative to the bankroll on each individual zone. Now, you don't have to have it like that. You can change it around. You can make it an overall bankroll and have losers affect one bankroll. But what we can do this way is track each zone and see how it's performing. So this is the beauty of Betfair Bot Manager. And something you should consider well worth the money, well worth purchasing, is automated software like this. So we'll be back a few minutes before the 3:20, and because I want to see if again, talk through the portal, see if there's anything that's cropping up, as it did very handily in the first race. So back for the 3:20, which is going to be at Musselburgh. Good track, Musselburgh, for us. Very good track. See you then. Okay, everyone, so we're back for the 3:20 at Musselburgh, which is a sprint. So zone 1 is going to feature in my filters for this race. I'm just 5 minutes out now, and I'm just beginning a scan of the portal, see if there's anything that's going to crop up like it did in the first race. There's a 7-runner race, so I don't think I'm going to see too much action. I tend to look more when there's between 10 and 12 runners. At the moment, as you can see, the favourite hasn't done much. 3.5 opened at 11 o'clock, 3.6, small drift, it's been up and down all day. And similar to the second favourite, again, just drifting, coming in, out a bit, so more or less equal. Always good idea, just scan down and across, scan down 11M and across. Ibrahim Yasser attracting a fair amount of sports. Keep an eye on that because it looks like he could go on a run in. Now, you see the difference here, and this is only come in a point, but since 11M it's been consistent. And all the time these are changing. But what we're really looking for, obviously, is from 11am to the 3-minute mark, consistent green. The higher the better, really. At the moment, with 1 minute to go, we've got 2 in the favourite zone. There's nothing outside of it really being backed. So I'm just concerned about the zone in this race. And quite possibly, looking at these prices, could be a no bet at the 1 minute mark. So we'll just wait for that to confirm. The favourite getting some support now. And indeed, we've filled the 1 minute mark and we have 2 horses, Crimson Spirit, Far Above Dream, who are both in zone 1, which signifies we do not bet that zone. In zone 2, 10.0 and above, we have nothing either and no outsiders. So a simple no bet and move on. There is a C1.1 portal alert for Crimson Spirit, as I explained earlier. We'll have a look at the race and then we will be back for our next filtered race in 20 minutes at Thirsk.
but he is making progress. Inside the final furlong they come now, and it's still Bellacci just here. Crimson Spirit together with Far Above Dream, lunging late. Bellacci at the moment is in front and is not going to be denied. Another one for Nick Bradley Racing. Tight for second then, Far Above Dream and Crimson Spirit in a photo, and Yasa was right behind them in fourth.
So Bellacci running out the winner there, and that's exactly why we don't bet when we don't have a clear signal from the zones. C1.1, obviously Crimson Spirit beaten as well. In our Telegram group chat we publish the daily results of these and the monthly results, and I think so far 9 out of 11 months have been profitable. So thinking long term, putting your bets on, it's a worthwhile strategy if you didn't want to sit at the portal all day and just receive the Telegram alerts. Right, so the next race we're looking at again is 1540. Back for that one, no bet there obviously. Okay guys, I've interrupted this to the 1530 at Brighton simply because it's brought up a C1 twice, which means we're going to Dutch the bet. This is outside of the amount of runners normally, but this is not a zone bet as I said in the video. So I'm quickly going to Dutch these, another Abbott and Cindy Lou Who on Betfair. I'm going to keep the stakes simple. £3. I'm not using the Betfair bot manager to do this yet because obviously that's for zone trading and I wanted to keep this separate, but this is a portal bet and it has cropped up. So if it wins, which these have been doing, they suggest that there's not much interest in any other part of the market apart from these two horses. So this is the reason why we Dutch them. So I'm going to pop over now to Brighton to see this and see how we get on. But this is an example I was telling you about on the portal where you start to see these patterns and themes, like Peter at Bet Angel does. He's been doing it for years and studying patterns. You see things, and when you see this, it's been noted quite a few times in the room that often one of the horses wins. So let's see.
Cindy Lou Who is being driven along. Another Abbott is just tracking them, going well for Tom Marcon. Looks a danger already from Spanish Star. Then further back way to Dubai. Gold Star Hero down the outside. He says go now on another Abbott who challenges Cindy Lou Who on that far side. These two kicking away from Ziggy's Aerial. Spanish Star, Gold Star Hero, the Thames Boatman running on. But it's another Abbott and another win for William Haggis in the Brighton Bullet. Tight for second on the far side, Cindy Lou Who. Near side, running on well was Charlie Mason. In between them, the Thames Boatman, and then Spanish Star and Gold Star Hero.
All right, so a winner, first and second. A great example. I'm really pleased I got that example out there for you guys because we've been chatting about this a bit. I've done two yesterday and both came in, and we can see here, yep, look, nicely Dutched, about just a little bit over 5-4 on that. So another great way of using the portal and a great example outside of the zones. And this is not restricted to the 12 runners, which is why I interrupted between the next race and first to show you it, and it's happened, it's worked out beautifully. So C1.1 double Dutch portal bet is one that you should be looking out for. They do crop up maybe once, twice a day, maybe more, sometimes not at all, maybe for 2 days. So again, if you're at home and you're doing an afternoon's racing, be Dutching the C1.1 portals. At the moment, with 1 minute to go, we've got 2 in the favourite zone. There's nothing outside of it really being backed. So I'm just concerned about the zone in this race. And quite possibly looking at these prices. Betfair odds open up here simply because we refresh the portal. So we just wait for that to confirm. See, and a fairly non-active market. The favourite getting some support now, and indeed we've filled the 1 minute mark, and we have 2 horses, Crimson Spirit, Far Above Dream, who are both in zone 1, which signifies we do not bet that zone. In zone 2, 10.0 and above, we have nothing either, and no outsiders. So it's simple, no bet, and move on. There is a C1.1 portal alert for Crimson Spirit, as I explained earlier. We'll have a look at the race, and then we will be back for our next filtered race in 20 minutes at Firsk.
Inside the final furlong they come now, and it's still Bellacci just here. Crimson Spirit together with Far Above Dream, lunging late. Bellacci at the moment is in front and is not going to be denied. Another one for Nick Bradley Racing. Tight for second then, Far Above Dream and Crimson Spirit in a photo, and Yasa was right behind them in fourth.
So Bellacci running out the winner there. And that's exactly why we don't bet when we don't have a clear signal from the zones. C1.1, obviously Crimson Spirit beaten as well. In our Telegram group chat, we publish the daily results of these and the monthly results. And I think so far 9 out of 11 months have been profitable. So thinking long term, putting your bets on, it's a worthwhile strategy if you didn't want to sit at the portal all day and just receive the Telegram alerts. Now, as is 10 runners, I might be looking down the 3-minute marker to see if there's something that's been heavily backed, checking these prices into what they are. And I do keep them every 20 or 30 seconds or so, but Betfair obviously is refreshing as it on the fly. We just take a grab of that, a couple of times a minute, and update the prices, and then the prices are fixed after the 1-minute mark. So if you do get a situation
2
where
minutes to start,
it's a 2-minute call. So if you get a delay at the start, serious delay, there's 2 things you can do there. You can either just keep an eye on the Betfair odds on the horses, because they will freeze after this 1-minute mark, and you'll sometimes see a move for a horse in a delay, or if it's delayed, just throw that race away and go to the next one. So having a look here now, we've got 2 favourites fighting it out. Equity Law, American Bay. That flashing, by the way, is the updating of the portal from Betfair. Miss Brazen also in zone 1, well supported, 9.6 in the morning into 7.2, and looking further down we have something green in zone 2. Yep, gone into 16s now from 22. It's interesting. Big move there percentage-wise in the last 3 minutes. And down here we have an outsider, 46s into 32s. So at the moment, currently, we might be doing 3 bets here. We have conflict in zone 1, a clear favourite in zone 2, and a clear well-backed horse in zone 3. So a minute out, I'm looking at this. It's not going to be a place bet, it's going to be a win bet, because now we've filled the minute, so we know what our bets are. We have no bet in zone 1. We have an outsider, Military Gal, in zone 2. Also at C2.0, I'll explain that after the bets. And Mini Magna. So over to the Betfair bot manager, Mini Magna and Military Gal, all automatically placed for us. We can come back to the Betfair console, call up the race. And while we're doing that, I just like to pop in the horses, just waiting on the going behind.
Dropping away, King's Crown is beginning to run on, but still with plenty to do as they race well inside the final furlong. Equity Law nearest the stands rails with American Bay in the centre, and Equity Law is tight with South Parade home in third. King's Crown running on in front of Glory Fight and Military Girl behind them.
Conflict bet for us, so we didn't do it, but that is part and parcel of the zoning system. C2, to explain C2 to you, is basically horses that are in the odds region of 10 to 20, and we only bet 1/3 of the stake if you are following the C1.1 and C2 portals, because obviously being higher odds, there are less winners, and simply you would more or less destroy your bankroll trying to back as much on a favourite as you would do on an outsider. So we recommend 1/3 of the stakes for the C2. And again, every day Stephen updates the Telegram chat with the monthly P&L and daily P&L of both of these. We've got to update our tracker. Okay, so Mark has lost Marcus lost. And here you can see a perfect example. We've lost 88 pence because of the odds. So this is how we keep control of our bankroll. We can have losers and a couple of winners and still walk away with profit. Just 1 minute out now from Musselburgh. Looks like the favourites. Okay, so he's zeros are considered greens because they're not negatives, by the way. At the moment we do have a pick, ToS Rally. We're just going to wait for confirmation at the 1 minute mark. Now we've got to keep an eye on Siggy's Triton down here because he could slip into 9.8, which will put him into that zone. So that's why we always in advance, always have Betfair up, have the race up ready to watch, and just be prepared, you know, because on the portal you've got that little time. Place your bets. So we're filled, and we have a clear favourite in zone 1. Siggy's Triton isn't going to come in from 11.5 to 9.8 all of a sudden. So simple bet here on ToS Rally at Musselburgh. Once again we go to Betfair Bet Manager. And a single click on ToS Rally will give us our bet amount calculated on the bankroll of there you go, it's decided that we're going to be betting £3.27.
In 2 seconds, hasn't she? So, so far, pretty good day.
Yeah, I would be on the side of ToS Rally.
Now I've just realised, guys, Siggy's Triton actually was a qualifier in the Zone 2 market. That zero obviously is green. So I've added that also to our list of bets there. You can see Siggy's Triton. And again, I'm just going to call up calculator, pop him in. What odds do we get for him? No, Betfair, come on. So Siggy's Triton, we've had a 95 pence bet on based on his odds. So 12. Into the pending poll, and off we go at first.
Very good on the all-weather. Not quite so good on the turf. A narrow advantage approaching the final furlong. On the outside, Popstar is trying hard. JM Jingri is trying to get a run through behind them. Then on the outside is Our Absent Friends with a chance. Siggy's Triton is digging in here inside the final furlong. He has to, and he's got there from Popstar. In second was third was Our Absent Friends, followed home by JM Jingri in fourth.
Well, lucky I double-checked the portal. Siggy's Triton, a winner for us. We're having a good day. And there you see. We didn't see... Oh, yeah, we did get the layoff at 1.15. So, into the tracker. Siggy's Triton, that's a win. Ran well. ToS Rally up there at the start as well. They both went off together. Went off at quite blistering pace, but Siggy's Triton stayed on really well. Mark has lost. So profit again. Now at this stage, guys, in the day's racing, I'd be looking at saying, you know what, I've exceeded 10 times my average stake in profit, and I would probably stop. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep going, just in case we have any more examples that are outside of the zone as we go on from the rest of the afternoon into the evening's racing. And I can tell you the next race coming up is going to be right now at Brighton. So this is quick. This is where you don't get a gap, late gap, and straight away looking at the portal, 2 in the favourite zone cancelled. Linwood Lad is 10s. I need to call this up quickly and see if he's drifted into 9.8 outside of zone 1. And yeah, Linwood Lad, quick bet here. So this is where you've got to be on the ball. When you get back-to-back races like this on a Saturday, this is where you want to do your filters. All right, that bet's going to be on. We're going to head over to Brighton. Okay, now he's come back into 9.2 now, and I'm just going to cash out for a profit. That's a no bet. Okay, I'm just going to cash out straight here. He's been heavily backed. He's got into zone 1. So a good example of sticking to the rules. Don't bet. Yeah. If he wins, he wins, okay? But the thing is now we've got 3 in zone 1 favourites, and he suddenly really got backed in heavily there. 14.5 at 2s into 9.4. Is that significant? We're going to find out.
Bear to Dream staying on towards the left with 5-5. An open looking race. Star Song has come through to lead from Big Time Rascal under curfew to Ciroc, and 5-5 down the outside inside the final furlong. And on the far side, Star Song. 5-5 finishing well with Bear to Dream, but Star Song leads the way. Favourite wins, Star Song. 5-5 second, maybe under curfew third on the far side, Bear to Dream.
Okay, nothing burger. Stick to the rules, guys, and keep your eyes on those odds. That's why we had the Betfair odds, and I suddenly said, whoop, he slipped into 9-4. Now he's in zone 1 with 2 other horses. He stayed outside, he would have been a bet. So what happened is I just cancelled the bet, took 4p in profit, and stuck to the rules of the race, stuck to the rules of the zones. And if we go into tracker here, we just basically delete it because it wasn't a bet. So another good example of how it can catch you out when you've got a horse on 10s, especially if they're going to be a zone 2 bet, and it crept into zone 1, so we cancelled the bet. It finished nowhere, and we move on to Thirsk, a mile and 4, so this is only going to be zone 2, and 3 bets here. Okay, here we are back at the 4:13 Thirsk, a mile and 4 handicap. So zone 1 in my filters will not apply today. It won't be there. Only zone 2 and 3. This was after a discussion with another member who's I was doing better in zone 2 and he was doing better in zone 1, and his zone 1 rules were that it was only to be sprint distances. So we have 2 in zone 1. Doesn't really matter to us, we're not betting it, unless a financer now sneaks out to 10 and above, which is possible. So zone 1 we're not interested in. It's a mile and 4 distance stayers race. Just looking up and down this, again just tracking across the favourite heavily backed since this morning, Ian Jardine, local trainer there, does well at Hamilton as well. Financer being backed in as well now. So Paddy Squire did go odds on briefly, it's come back out again. Tricky race, nothing for us to be involved in. 9.2, that's not going to drift out now. So,
but it's Paddy the Squire asserting in the closing stages and staying on resolutely to draw clear. Paddy the Squire from Ribble Vibe, Sax Appeal, Mr. Alan Melek Alria, and finally Financer.
alrighty, well, good favourite in the end. Out, Mr. Jardine, obviously likes it up north, well supported, well backed, but we did have conflict with Financer, who came out right at the back. So again, the power of the portal. We didn't do a bet, we didn't have a bet, we haven't lost anything, we haven't won anything, but this is the whole point of being strict about the zones. Clear favourite there. Had Financer not been all green, we still wouldn't have done it because it wasn't the zone 1 bet. Now I know it sounds odd that we think sprints, sort of the data suggests that the zone 1 wins more in sprints than it does longer staying races, because you think horses would have more time to sort themselves out, but the data is forever growing and changing, and we're accumulating that. So our next race will be Musselburgh, again without zone 1 at 16:30. Okay, so back for the 4:35. Sorry, I did say 4:35 at Musselburgh, but it turns out 5 runners. Wasn't in the filters, so my mistake. So we move on to Brighton. 7 furlong sprint, zone 1 applies. 6 runners, small field, smallest field that we do. 2 minutes out, just checking the prices. Good support for Taillands, and also rotation, not moving much really. Backed in, drifted out, and then coming down to our outsiders. In fact, that's in zone 1. We are betting zone 1 today, so we're just waiting. Just looking at this now, again, nothing outside sort of really showing any interest. So we just wait for final confirmation before we put the bet on. Got a cluster of races today, really. A few more to do, and then there's a break until the evening. So we'll see how we go on these, because I think we've covered some really good examples today, and how to use the portal. Just spending a few minutes before the race. seeing what's happening. Just looking at the book movement, heavy book, best book movement for the favourite Townhouse now going into 1.98. So my rule is I don't back odds on. So for me, this is a no bet race if it stays odds on. Looks to be pretty well backed, and there's nothing else showing. Just while we wait for the confirmation 1 minute marker to appear. Yeah, I mean, it's a rule. I mean, some do 1.8, others do 3.0, and now it's moved back out to 2.02, so it just goes to show you. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this now, because to me it's one of those do I, don't I bets. So we're just going to call up Brighton. Where is he? And the odds 2.12, he's drifting out. Time is up, and I guess we are going to be backing it. They're going behind. Just keeping an eye on the Betfair. 2.18. He's not going to come back in, so we are going to back him as a Zone 1 favourite. Let's double check that. Yeah, definite favourite, and within scope of my betting.
Towerlands travels well, just needs to get a split, squeezing through, breathing in. Rotation gets hampered on the far side, out very wide, Burning Hot. Nutcracker, my mate BT. Towerlands came there strongly, but Rotation is trying to make a race of it, and on the near side, Burning Hot is not out of it. Inside the final half furlong, Towerlands, Burning Hot under the rail, Towerlands forging away, Burning Hot, Towerlands and Burning Hot a little way apart, followed then by Rotation, and Nutcracker was fourth. Towerlands number 2 on the far side of Burning Hot on the near side.
My goodness. What do you reckon? Towerlands has lost it. But another thing for us is that we laid off Towerlands, so we've made money. So my point earlier on about having that low 15% lay system has worked. Towerlands beaten there. I didn't think you could lose, but incredibly, I mean, what I don't even a photograph. I mean, wow. It was difficult. It's down the stand signs at Brighton, and that angle is terrible. I mean, it just looked like Towerlands had got it, but good grief. I mean, on the nod chinned, but we still win. Amazing. There you go. Wow. So I'll take it. You know, had we just done a straight back win, we wouldn't be picking up money, but we've managed to lay off what we thought was going to win and pick up a nice little sum. So there you go, an example there of why, especially Jack does it on all 3 zones at varying amounts depending on the odds. A really good reason why when you get chinned, it feels really good that you've actually won some money. We're seeing some really good examples of stuff today. It's fantastic. And we have a 6 furlong coming up at first, which is 8 runners at 4:45. Sorry. See you then.
Who are nearest the stands rails, who are going on from Uncle Sam. Soul Spirit less than a length in front of Get Up Everybody, but Soul Spirit running on well to win comfortably with his ears pricked. From Get Up Everybody, Uncle Sam tight for 4th, with Fair Call, Mr McGregor, Jeannie May and Sir David all involved.
Not too bad from Mr McGregor. I mean, he was fancied. There was some money for him, and we do tend to do these ones that are 40 plus or 35 plus, minus 35 in this case, which means his price has dropped. Always worth doing for pennies. You know, they do come in, and that was a bet, and we'll enter that into. I'll update my tracker because it was a Zone 3 bet in effect, and we'll move on. And our next race will be again a sprint at Musselburgh at 5+5. Yeah, sorry, what I should have pointed out, my correction, Mr McGregor was not a Zone 3 bet outsider owing to the red here. However, he become a possible bet on just using the portal alone by this movement in the last 3 minutes from 60s into 40s. So yeah, he doesn't go into the tracker because it didn't actually qualify as a Zone 3 bet, and as you know, up here we had conflict. So sorry for that. See you for Musselburgh. So we're about 3 minutes out from the 5+5 at Musselburgh. I've made a decision here to call it on this video simply because looking at the filters, we've got 3 more races that go on late to the evening. There's about an hour's gap between each one, and I don't think I could have shown you any more better examples today than what we've seen, and I don't want to make the video too long. As well as this, I would have now actually stopped, having made over 10x on my bankroll. I could even stop at 7x, 6x, 5x, whatever you want to do. I find that stopping at a profit emotionally and also psychologically is a great thing to take into the next day. And don't forget, on the portal, every horse is going to have to lose for you to have a really bad day, and that's never happened. We've always had these winners with these specifically calculated odds to balance the bets. So looking at this, I will do this last at Thirsk, but it will be the last one on this video. So what have we got? A minute out, we're looking small field, sprint. Heavy fancied favourite, Highland Ollie, been backed in all day more or less, just drifted out a little bit, just 20 minutes out. Pat on the back down here, also in the favourite zone, which is 1.01 to 9.8, of course. It remains to be seen if we're going to have a bet on this last race. Yes, we are. We're going to be backing the favourite Highland Ollie. There is nothing of any other significance here that doesn't qualify. Heavily fancied favourite here, Highland Ollie. Yeah, so just to reiterate, I would have not been backing this race. I'm just doing it for the sake of the video and for you to see every possible angle that you can when you're playing the portal. This one is just a regular zone bet. Let's hope he turns it in. Heavy favourite, and is, from, of course, a zone 1 bet because it's a sprint, having changed my filters. So over to Thirsk, and let's see how we get on in the lucky last.
Just in front, maybe Corylus Magnus, not for long. Here's Pat on the back on the inside, together with Highland Ollie, and then trying to stay on his Sandret. They've got about 100 yards left to run here, and Pat on the back, and Amy Collier storm home to win the Amateur Riders Handicap from in second Sandret, and then Corylus Magnus back in third, Highland Ollie 1 pace back in fourth.
And there you go, proof we're not infallible. We lose. Okay, it happens, but this is all part of the game and all part of the discipline. So we're going to mark that down as a loss. Now, I did say earlier that I would have quit already. However, I'm still happy with this. I'm still about 8-9 times my average stake for the day in profit. I'm going to quit. Guys, I can't stress to you enough how good this portal is, and for £1 a day to use this in the various ways that I've shown you today is going to more than cover your subs. You can stick to zone betting, you can just do your own strategies on it, and like I said at the beginning of the video, the more you look at the portal, the more you see. Today we've seen the C1.1 double Dutch. I've spotted an outsider, back that, didn't come in, but it could have done to be placed. You know, we could have always done 3 to be placed, and I've done that before and got odds of 6. We've seen a zone 2 winner, and we've also seen a winner that was a loser and we still made money. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out the links in the description below, like and subscribe, and follow us on X, and that's also in the description. Any questions, email us at admin@tradeonsports.co.uk, and we'll be back with another video very soon. But for now, I'm off to have a beer and celebrate my winnings, even on small stakes. You know, I've made 7% on my bankroll, which I would add on tomorrow and compound and start all over again. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.